Let me start over. What's going down, everyone? It's the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast, episode number 86, powered by Beatstars, beatstars.live. We're live on Beatstars every Monday and every Thursday with our free music business mentorship program, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And speaking of Beatstars, not only am I wearing the shirt to confuse people, but I have two of my twins on today. If people had trouble distinguishing me from Dame, they're really going to have trouble distinguishing the three of us from each other. We have Abe, aka the General, the CEO, the man behind the greatest beat selling platform ever, BeatStars. Thank you for coming on, man. How are you feeling?
Hey guys.
The General.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me. You know, I always appreciate the platform to come on here and address like really important topics. And you guys.
The more important topic, Abe. How are you feeling, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I kind of put out some private public news, about myself. I was just recently diagnosed with CLL, which is chronic lymphocytic leukemia. It's a blood cancer, and I am going through treatment right now. I think I'm getting better. I'll have more of a prognosis next week when I do my first CT scan after like a month of treatment to see if my tumors are shrinking. So appreciate the community's constant positive energy and prayer, and everyone has just been so supportive in this journey of mine. It's a tough thing to kind of like grasp. Every day is like a roller coaster. Some days I'm like, it's easier, like, you just kind of become delusional and just like pretend nothing is happening, but then you feel pain, and then it's like a constant reminder of what's happening in your body. But man, we're all human, and it just like puts things in a crazy clear perspective for me, and I hope it does for so many people. It's like, no matter how healthy you are, like, man, I was working out, running 6 miles a day, eating great, and been doing that for the last like couple years at least, trying to get back into shape and feeling good, and all my vitals and all my blood work is normal. It's just crazy. Like, everything was normal, and then, this comes out of nowhere. And I think guys, like, I'll be honest with you, man, I think it probably has to do with a lot of stress. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I think stress, like just this like constant cycle of stress in your life can do some weird things to your body. So if there's
for sure,
if there's anything that, I would say is just, guys, try to balance life, try to balance life as much as you can. If things are being stressful, try to eliminate those stressful things in your life,
Well, we're definitely going to keep the positive energy and prayers flowing your way. You definitely get through this, man. So we're thinking about you, and, just wanted, since you made it public, I felt it was probably okay to address it.
It's cool. I think, so, it's like so many people you hear about getting sick, and then you just hear about the bad news of them passing, and they keep it private, and they keep, and I've always been the person that's, I'm always sharing, like, I'm always just trying to, share my experiences with people. I think it's okay. And I think that if you come from like a real genuine place, I think there's more people that will, have a sensitive place in their heart to, like, it's like, I looked at it like this. 13 years we've been working our asses, busting our asses at, reinvesting and building this market, and reinvesting into young entrepreneurs and just people to, so self-sustain themselves. And I figured, I hope people appreciated what we built the last 13 years to the point where it's like, if I ask for a little prayer, I'll get it, and the community did, man. The community did. Like, it was just like, during the last 12 months of just constant negative, constant, like, craziness, right? Like the most like uncommon things were happening, to us in our lives. And it's just like to get people just kind of realign and say, turn off social media for a second. okay, Abe's going through this. Like, life is more important than listening to dumbass Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Or paying attention to, you know, or giving like, or feeding into the constant cycle of like hate and negativity, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's been good, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Cool.
you've changed a lot of lives, to say the least. So,
Yeah.
the community is aware, and
Yep.
you know, we love you for that.
Oh yeah, man. I love you guys back even more. You know?
So
So
on
yeah, go ahead.
to the less important topic, but interesting nonetheless. So 2 weeks ago, we started a conversation when a Billboard article came out about Caleb Hearn's story, and we had Carl Folks on, who is a dope music attorney, and we talked about it. And then the following week, we invited Caleb Hearn on the podcast to share his story as well, so we can kind of fill in some of the details, some of the things that we were probably just assuming in the first session. And I think that was a really dope episode. If you didn't listen to that, please listen to the prior episode. But then you circled back because you felt that the Rolling Stone article painted Beatstars in a negative light. And it mentioned Beatstars, but it wasn't about Beatstars. So I was curious to hear your thoughts and why you felt so passionately about it. So feel free, because I think most people know the story already.
Yeah, so the writer reached out to me and asked me a bunch of questions, and and wanted me to be part of this article. And I think he used a couple quotes from me in the article. And I don't completely like blame the writer for not making sure he's painting the full picture. It's complicated. It's such a like complicated web of just music industry, online internet activity. It's crazy. When he hit me up, they're like, yeah, we're about to expose these people that are taking advantage of people on your platform. And I thought that was great. I was like, yeah, we need to talk about this. We talk about it internally. We try to talk about it. We never had a face and name. We've always heard about these kind of activities happening off the platform, right? But it starts by, finding the producers on the platform. We always heard about this. We always heard there was always these A&Rs and these labels and these people doing this to our community members, but they always stayed in the shadows. We never can get a face and name. So I was really excited that there was gonna be a face and name printed to the public. And the guy, was part of the article and was like completely like loving all of the attention and being transparent, and thought this was like a cool thing, for him. And the one thing that bothered me was that it wasn't clear to the reader that, it kind of painted it where this guy was doing it on the Beatstars platform with the Beatstars agreements. That's kind of like, if you don't know how BeatStars operates, you don't know what this web of like, exploitation is happening. You automatically are thinking, oh, BeatStars is enabling this bullshit, right? So the writer didn't make it clear that these transactions are happening off of the platform, and if they were happening on our platform, the producers would not be giving up their intellectual property. They would not be giving up their rights. So that's what I kind of like just was a little bit bothered. Like the full picture wasn't there. And I'm glad like we're talking about it now, because I want people to know, like, we don't enable these. There's no intention for us to enable these vultures. This goes against our business model. You know what I mean? So
I don't know if this is going to make you feel any more comfortable, but I didn't gather that
That's
at
good.
all from the article. Like and maybe it's just my background. Our background plays into how we interpret the information, right? So you're so familiar.
You're so familiar with BeatStars and the product and the business model, right? You're very familiar with it, so it's like ingrained in you. But someone that is just reading the Rolling Stone that doesn't know anything about BeatStars, doesn't know anything about these guys or this Caleb and Goldman and all these guys, they automatically think, oh yeah, BeatStars is the place that all of this fuck shit activity is happening on,
Right.
You know, just from the outside looking in. So I messaged Elias. I told him, listen, man, I respect what you're doing. I said, you know, this article was very much needed, but you didn't paint the full picture, and you can't do that. And I told him straight up, I was like, you can't do that, because you could possibly be putting people that are like us, that are fighting for producers' rights, that are fighting for producers' ownership, that are fighting for leverage in the industry, and painting us as like a culprit in this whole debacle. You know what I mean? I didn't like that. You know,
well, that was always my problem with Rolling Stone, because
they always do that.
They did it. I mean, I think it was way worse with the Old Town Road article, where the headline had the word lawsuit in it. And I remember it was so ignorant, because Trent Reznor wasn't interviewed, Lil Nas X wasn't interviewed, Young Keo wasn't interviewed. None of the people that were actually involved in the song directly were interviewed. They just decided to slap on that word lawsuit. So you had a bunch of people reading this article thinking there was a lawsuit, and then the lesser known publications picked up on it, and
not just there's a lawsuit pain. There's Beatstars is enabling the lawsuit.
Right?
Again,
Yeah,
we're enabling these things to happen. You know, and it's like, fuck, man, get your shit together.
yeah, no, and that's a fact, because then later they.
Yeah.
Well, you go. Thank God for I made a video about this. Thank God for social media, because I went straight to Young Keo's Twitter page, where he said, "You guys look stupid as hell claiming there's a lawsuit. The sample was cleared ages ago." And then on top of it, Rolling Stone interviews Trent Reznor, I think months after they printed that stupid ass article, and Trent Reznor was like, "Yeah, they called me and they said they needed to clear the sample, and I was cool with it, and everything was all good." So it's
It was never
there was
lawsuit.
never even talk. There was never even language that suggested a lawsuit. You know, once the truth comes out.
Yeah, assumption.
So Payne loves Rolling Stone. So
Obviously,
but I honestly, I'm gonna go back and read the article again, because I didn't.
I think,
but that's not it. But that's not even the point. I want to paint the full picture here, right? Like, I want to fill in the gaps that you think are missing here, and I want you to talk about what producers should be doing when they're licensing beats. Songs go viral. What should the process, communication be, in your opinion, so that things like this don't happen? That's what I really want to talk about.
Well, first, like, you know, I'm really happy Caleb shared his story from the artist perspective. You know, sometimes we don't think about what we do on the production side, how it affects the artist sometimes. You know, sometimes we're just like, oh, I'm just going to worry about my share, and I'm going to worry about selling this beat, you know, selling this beat to whoever gives me the highest number and takes away my rights. But we don't know how that affects the other parties in the song, you know? And so I'm really happy, you know, Caleb shared his story. And to know that it was a song like personal to him about his friend that passed away, and then having to go through like a public like ordeal with you know, like his friend is the spirit of the song, and it had to go through that kind of like negative moment with this Goldman dude. Man, it just really sucks. You know, it really sucks, because just imagine you creating, you know, something, a piece of art for a loved one, and then, you know, someone just wants to come and stomp on it, you know, and say it's mine. I own it. I control this. I take care of it. And you're like, I did this for my mom. I did this for, you know what I mean? Like, just imagine what that kid felt, you know? But so when I say that to say, producers need to know everything you do affects other parties. There's other people involved in this song. So when you're contemplating a buyout from one of these vultures, just remember that you may fuck over the artist that made this like beautiful piece of art that actually could take you to different stratospheres. Like, you know, if you don't know that there's an underlying song that's like becoming viral, and it's like becoming like a piece of like it's having its moment in music, and if you don't know, regardless, you should never just sign a work for hire buyout agreement with any label or with any A&R without consulting, like, you know, having legal representation, or like hitting up Beatstars, because we literally have been we have like 5 or 6 cases just in the last like 3 months, 4 months, where we're fighting to get our producers' rights back. And we're doing this like pro bono. We're not charging, we're not charging we're doing it because we can't see, we just can't see our producers go through this type of like heartache too. And it's like, and it just, we care about them so much that we're like, no, man, like, and these are big songs. Like we're having to fight for rights on songs that, that were released by Pop Smoke, by Rich the Kid, Cardi B, what's his name?
Hey.
What's the rainbow hair dude, whatever the fuck that dude's name is.
6ix9ine.
Yeah, 6ix9ine, like all these guys. Like we're fighting against all these like commercial releases that have been released without our producers' beats being cleared for most times.
Wow.
Can you talk specifically about, because a producer might hear this and say, well, they bought the license, so they're good for a certain amount of streams. I could go ahead and sell this. Like they might not know. You say that it affects the artist, but what does that mean? Like, how does it affect the artist? I think that people need to know that.
Well, the non-exclusive doesn't protect against someone that's trying to acquire all the master and publishing rights, so there's the ability for the producer. Always, we want to give them the freedom to be able to sell the exclusive rights and to a bigger label situation. So they have to like just keep in mind that even if you are selling non-exclusively, the moment you start dabbling, and doing like these more strategic kind of deals outside of the platform, you could be affecting your customers. And you got to make sure whatever exclusive or whatever like work for hire deal, you got to make sure that in that agreement, all of the licenses that you sold prior are honored. You have to. And that's what's happening. These work for hire agreements are basically, just like Xing out and not honoring all of the other like non-exclusive licenses. And so they're putting in clauses and they're putting in all these kind of crazy language that we don't control because it's not happening on our platform,
Right.
So it's
so you're saying on the platform there's beats sold non-exclusively and they have the right to, up to a certain amount of streams, and then the producer will sell the beat off the platform that null and voids that initial contract. Like, how does that?
Yeah.
How should they be doing? Like, explain the process.
That's kind of like the risk of selling things non-exclusively, right? It's like you're tied to the song, but you're like the artist is tied to the song, but not kind of fully tied to it, because there's always an opportunity for the whole composition to be purchased most of the time, guys. And we're seeing, and listen, what is happening right now is just so beautiful too, because we've been part of some transactions with the majors where we have producers. I wish I could say their names, but I guess I don't know. I don't think it's well, I'll say their name, whatever. And I don't think they're going to get mad. Like Mixtape Soul, okay? Mixtape Soul has a beat that one of the majors is dying to license, to have. They want to own it, right? And Mixtape Soul is one of the biggest producers on Beatstars, and they're like, yeah, we're not selling this exclusively to you guys, and we're not doing no work for hire, and we're not doing complete buyouts, we're not doing all this. So we pushed and finally just got to the point where the major label was like, okay, we'll just buy a non-exclusive from you with these rights and terms in the agreement, just like everyone else on the platform. So now we're seeing major labels by not being happy with purchasing non-exclusive licenses from our producers and okay with honoring all of the other like non-exclusive licenses that exist and allowing the producer to continue selling that beat non-exclusively.
Oh, so this could be the future of the music industry.
It's beautiful. I love it. So they're starting to ditch the whole buyout kind of like model, or the exclusive model and all that stuff too. They're starting to ditch that because they're starting to see that these producers are generating way too much income off of these beats, and that they're not interested in giving up those pieces of production. When you remove it, like when Mixtape Soul removes a beat from their catalog, that's a big hit. Yeah. That's a big hit. And most of the time, it's a bigger hit than the money that they were going to actually make from, the major label license. So
who owns the master in that situation of the song?
Yeah, so they're they give them the ability to create another master, just like with our non-exclusive licenses. So they're giving them the rights to create their own version of their own master, with this production.
Okay, so the producer just owns the 50%, and then he gets some royalties.
And he does get some
publishing. Yeah, 50% publishing.
Master and publishing royalties. Yep, both.
Yeah, and the ironic thing too is there's this whole narrative out there about how evil the music industry is and how evil the major labels are. I've never in my life had a major label buy one of my beats and try to snatch my publishing and try to avoid paying me master royalties. I mean, they do.
That's you. Well, that's case by case. I've seen different.
I've seen it. I've heard of it happening. But it's generally there's something weird going on in those cases. It's not standard. The labels do shady stuff. Their accounting is not at all transparent. That's another topic. It's just that these buyouts that are happening to producers are generally coming not from major labels. They're coming from the Jacob Goldmans, the independent label owners, the beat poachers who aren't affiliated with labels, the the random rappers who might not understand the business well enough to realize that a buyout isn't, one, necessary for them to profit from their song, and two, morally right. And the producers themselves, this is why what you said, which is that the producer really is at the center of these transactions. That's why from jump, when I heard of the situation, I said, okay, this is the producer's fault. And not to chastise the producer or insult the producer. The producer of this Caleb Hearn record actually reached out to me. I invited him on the podcast. He just said he didn't do interviews, video interviews or anything. But he confirmed what Caleb was saying. Yeah, and I would love to have him on here too, but he said, yeah, he regrets doing it. And I know one of the comments was he sold the rights to the beat and paid his rent when he could have bought a house. And it was an ugly situation because the insight that we gathered was that Jacob lied or misrepresented himself as someone who was managing or otherwise involved with Caleb Hearn and told the producer, well, I'm working with him anyway, so you got to sell the beat to me. And I'm sure the producer,
I didn't hear that part. I didn't hear that part yet.
That was the part where it was like, okay,
manipulation.
It was total manipulation. But hopefully this story can serve as a cautionary tale for other producers so that when somebody comes by and says, you know what, let me get a buyout, I'll give you $200, $300. Even if you've never sold a beat in your life, that $200, that $300, that $1,500 is not shit. It feels like a lot. It's not. If someone's offering you that kind of money for a buyout and they're being aggressive with it and they're saying, hurry up, sign, we got to handle it. That's when you step back. Don't be so thirsty.
That's like the number one red flag, that there's something bigger going on behind it, But man,
try to get
producer guys, prior to starting BeatStars, just my interactions with, industry producers, and them crying about the situations that they were in even back in 2007, 2006, right? While I was working at Ingroove's Dame, talk to the producers, that was part of the inspiration to really say fuck it and build BeatStars, was hearing about how the industry producers were getting fed buyout agreements, work for hire agreements too back then. So Payne, it was very common. It was very common back then. It was very common back then to be served like first, the first opportunity you get was like a buyout agreement. That was kind of like, dude, I remember talking to an executive at Warner Brothers one time, he was like, hey, we need some beats. And this is like, 2007. He's like, hey, we need some beats, and we're only doing buyouts. We're only doing buyouts. So let me know. It's like it's like applauded. I know executives that built their whole reputation and their backs on doing these kind of deals because look at it. I mean, it's from a business perspective, it's not illegal. It's not illegal. Like if the producer is going to allow you to step in and do these kind of things and not be educated and not understand what the music industry, how it operates and how it works, and you don't have any representation, you don't have any management, they're gonna feed you the most kind of like the first offer is always going to be the one that takes everything, and so like this is part of why MEC is on BeatStars now, right? This like and I think we've guys together, like let's think about it, like over the last few years I think we've made like huge strides with the education of producers. I'm seeing more and more producers find good management. I'm seeing more and more producers find great attorneys to work with and like represent them, even the younger guys, but there's always going to be a segment of producers that maybe, I don't know, maybe they're young, maybe they're just like not educated, and they don't even really understand the licenses that they're actually even selling. There's a lot of producers don't even know the business that they're actually in. They just think that I just upload a beat and I sell it, and this is how it works. I don't know what the underlying like ownership and copyrights mean. Like a lot of them don't know. They just don't know.
Yeah,
so I say that to say, listen, guys, we're building a stable of lawyers at BeatStars. We've already hired one. We're interviewing more. We're building a whole legal services type of team to be able to like serve all of our producers when they run into these situations. And so they have a resource, and they have someone to look over these agreements. They have someone to like, because we can't keep seeing this, and we've already been doing it behind the scenes already for the past like year or so of all these like, fight for rights for producers. And these guys are hitting this up. Like a lot of guys, like there was a kid in India, and he produced like a Cardi B and annual AA hit smash, and they took his beat and ran. They didn't even ask for it, right? So he hits me up from India, and he's like, I need some help. And then we get him help. So it's well, if we don't know about it, we can't help, right? If we don't know about, like, if it's happening off the platform, we can't help. And and Payne, I would agree. I would hope you would agree too, that producers do not sign agreements outside of BeatStars. If someone's looking for like a non-exclusive license, direct them to your store. Unless you really, really need someone to, come in and like step in and help like negotiate these things for you.
Well, yeah, get a lawyer. It's just one of those things that I can't wrap my head around. Why would you sign something that, one, you don't understand, and two, you don't have legal representation for? Just don't do it. Just stop doing it.
Listen, put yourself in your 17-year-old self, okay? This situation,
15, 14, 13,
whatever.
It's happening younger.
Yeah, it's happening younger and younger. And
was that even legal?
Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is, like, imagine yourself in this young body, and someone's throwing $1,000 at you, and you're too shy, or not too shy, but just like intimidated to hit up a lawyer. Like, lawyers are intimidating. You're like, I don't know how to talk to this guy. These lawyers are so mean sometimes. They're like, fuck off. Like they're just like, they're tough to talk to sometimes. So what we've done at BeatStars was like, we've been able to kind of like open this door, this transparent door to always be like personable, and our team members always being visible and approachable, because we want the community to know they could talk to us. We're one of them. Talk to us. We'll direct the traffic for you. Because I know how intimidating it could be to like hit up a lawyer, explain the situation, which most of the times that 17, 18-year-old is not going to even understand how to explain the situation, So
I mean, so part of this is the industry evolved, because if you look back at the old deals where they were offering buyouts, to me, it's a lot of industries, a lot of businesses, it's just about leverage. You know, like you said, they're not doing anything illegal. And the producer at that point, what else was he or she going to do with the damn beat? Right. So now when we have social media, we have the ability to build our own brands. We have BeatStars, we have other flows of revenue. The leverage shifts. So the negotiations, you have more power, and artists, creatives need to understand what they hold. So Abe, I still want you to kind of walk me through. I'm a producer on BeatStars. I sell a non-exclusive beat. It's selling a bunch of licenses, bunch of people have the beat. Now I'm in negotiation because somebody wants this exclusively.
Yeah.
What should the terms of that agreement be? How do you honor these licenses? Should these people be able to still stream to that number, and then they can't use the song anymore? Then they can't exploit that song anymore because this person bought the beat out? What should that process look like?
Right. So like our exclusive agreements honor all the non-exclusives that are sold prior, you know? So, and I would hope the producers, you know, would have the, you know, the respect to honor all their customers' licenses, because, you know, those people are, you know, reinvesting in you in these microtransactions to help build your business. You should honor what you've given them. But we're starting to see like more and more producers are more and more artists are opting in for like the unlimited non-exclusive license that, you know, doesn't limit the amount of streams or doesn't limit the amount of things that they can do in regards to the DSPs and with that master, you know. It might limit them with sync. I don't think they're able to do a lot of sync stuff and some other stuff, but at least it allows them to, you know, like put up that single, invest in it. And that's kind of what the major one of the major labels did with that Mixtape Soul beat. They just purchased a non-exclusive unlimited license, basically. You know what I mean? That still allows and honors all the rest of the non-exclusive licenses. So, yeah, I think, I mean, I think we've created a really cool model, man. Like, we've created a cool model if everyone adheres to what's, you know, like using the platform the way it should be meant to be used. Once you start going outside and you start like doing some other negotiations and some other license deals and some other things like that, like it's hard for us to control that. And also it helps, it hurts BeatStars from a reputation point of like, oh man, this guy just bought out the beats and now all these non-exclusives are not valid anymore because of the deal that he's signing, right? But if they, you know, it hurts the producer's reputation even more, you know. It hurts the producer's reputation even more. Like
it hurts the whole community, and you know, there's just so much that we're dealing with. If it's not Jacob Goldman, it's Rolling Stone misrepresenting.
His name is Justin Goldman.
Oh, whatever. If it's not that bloodsucker, it's the Rolling Stone articles. If it's not the Rolling Stone articles, it's KE on the track on YouTube lying and saying BeatStars got bottom of the barrel beats, and you'll get sued if you use them. It's just, there's so much fuckery going on surrounding producers who are just trying to make an honest living off of their beats. And the last thing,
how many years were the internet producers just kind of like operating in the shadows?
Right.
Many years, right? Now that we're literally the industry, now that the internet producers are literally powering the whole fucking industry, we're not in the shadows anymore. So we can't be dumb about our shit anymore. We can't afford it. Before, we were just licensed, you know, prior to the internet producers powering every single hit that's coming out right now. Prior to that, you know, it was like we're selling to Joe Schmo and, you know, in Rhode Island or like Virginia, that's, you know, going to press up 100 CDs and pass them out, right? That's how it used to be. And, you know, there wasn't really a lot of like, you know, sensations coming out of it, not a lot of viral things happening. There was like one in 10 years, you know? So now that it's just so much more common that you guys are literally powering the whole industry, making a lot of people angry. The labels can't do the same deals anymore that they used to. Just imagine how many work for hire contracts happen on SoundClick. like people, these A&Rs probably used to go on there and just like buy bundles of beats and rights and then just repurpose them into the system, you know?
Yeah, probably. But we're seeing other systems emerging nowadays that aren't BeatStars. And I cringe at seeing some of these offers because it'll, royalty free beats, that kind of stuff. It's just, I'm not one of those people that gets threatened by a race to the bottom, but I was a member of a certain Facebook group where what did worry me, not that people were selling, 30 beats for $5. They can do that all day. It doesn't affect me. What is a problem is that some of the conversations in that group were so misinformed, and it was the ignorant leading the ignorant. Someone would say, "Hey, do I get royalties when I give out these beat packs?" And someone would reply and say, "No, if you're leasing a beat, you don't get shit. Or if you sell that beat exclusively, you're done. That's it." It's like, okay, you're contradicting yourself. Either the leases don't allow for any kind of ownership, or the exclusives don't. And the fact of the matter is neither is true. But because someone on a Facebook group or someone in a YouTube comment or someone on a forum says it's true, for some reason that's a very powerful thing and people will believe them. They're not asking a lawyer, they're not asking an experienced producer, they're asking someone that they don't know from a can of paint. And people are ignorant about the music business. There's no other business that, in my experience, there's no other career field like the music business in which the majority of the people who are involved in it don't understand it. So the least we can do for ourselves is just understand the business that we're in, like you said, Abe. That's it. And then what we can do if we've already gotten to that point and we do feel some sense of responsibility to the people around us is spread that information. And a lot, the less we say, the less we know, the less we should say.
Yeah, there's a ton of these Justin Goldmans though. There's a ton of them. They're on TikTok every day. They're on TikTok every day, Dame. And
can you read? I need one that's willing to come on the podcast, like, because it sounded like because he participated.
He liked to shine. He sounded like he liked to shine.
That's
he was proud. He was proud. He's like following in his daddy's footsteps. He was proud to get a better bottom line on his company. Listen, I have a message for you, motherfuckers, bro. I have a message for you, motherfuckers. If you're going to fuck with people in my community, you're gonna deal with me. I promise you. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Can you circle back to the writer and get his? Because I look for him on social media. Yeah, I think I
got the writer. I'll introduce you to him.
Yeah,
like people are, these trolls and these vultures. Like, this is nothing new, right? It always has. We have to wait until we have this. We build this. What we're doing with all of us. We build this wall, like to just stop it. There's more than enough bad characters out there. There's enough of them, right? But if BeatStars is starting to be this platform that is providing all this leverage now for these producers, and all of these hits are being made on the platform every single day, like it's my responsibility to stand up, dude. Like I have to. I can't just like turn a blind eye to our community getting jacked left and right, So it's something I've always known that we need to deal with, and we, trying to figure out like a better scalable way to do it with technology too. We're working on that, but yeah, it's a pretty big responsibility, man, because like Payne said, man, like these guys, like these producers, they just see a quick buck, and they're blinded about like what they should really be doing, So it's our responsibility, man. It's us. It's the people that know how this whole thing operates. We're on the inside, dude. I had an A&R call me like, Abe, you got to put a stop to this. Like, these guys are getting awards, and these guys are getting like raises and like promotions because of the shit they're doing on the platform. They're just stealing from these kids, and they're getting like rewarded. They're getting rewarded, dude.
Yeah, and it's terrible. Like it's super shady what they're doing now. Like back when you know, before when you were saying they were offering buyouts to producers back in the day, like, I'm not gonna say I respect that, but the label was
option, right?
No, that's not where I'm going with it. There was no option, but like the label at that time still had to, like, A&R still meant something. They had to groom these art. Like, it wasn't like today it's already a hit. So what they're doing is way shadier, in my opinion, because they're not doing any work. It's all deception and kind of theft, as opposed to, you know, 20 years ago, you still had to groom an artist for some time, invest, go to radio. You know, there was a lot to get an artist going. These days, the song's already going. They're backdooring, trying to exploit somebody that just doesn't understand what they have in their hand already.
You know what's crazy too? It's not just these A&R dudes. It's the artists too, like the bigger artist.
And the smaller artists too, man.
No, and small artists too. Yeah, I was in the middle. I mean, listen, I love our artist community. Everyone that's doing everything legal and respecting respecting how the model works and respecting producers. Like, there's a lot of love and collaboration, no doubt about it. But there's been some bigger artists that will send their lawyers and say, listen, I found these 5 beats on BeatStars. I need you to, like, so send a lawyer. This is an example of a kid in Korea, producer in Korea, had made like 6 major placements from this artist that found his beats on BeatStars. Sends the lawyer, says, I want all these beats. The lawyer sends them a full 360 everything. Management, publish, like, complete buyouts, exclusivity. The producer could only produce for that artist now.
Right.
Production deals.
Please tell me they didn't sign. Did they sign it?
Signed it. He doesn't even speak English. Bro. Doesn't even speak English. Emails me like pretty much crying. How did I get myself into this? Everything. And this was someone making a good living on the platform.
And now he's done.
I went back. So we have to have a conversation about, not a full-on conversation now, we're about to wrap up this podcast, but I went back and forth with Trampy on Twitter about this, because he was basically saying anytime somebody reaches out for a buyout, it's some shady situation. And I was letting him know that, yeah, sometimes that's the case, but a lot of times artists, they just want the buyout because they don't want to have to do anything afterward. They don't want to have to owe anything. And it's not malicious. Yeah. They're just not set up for any type of royalty accounting.
Sure.
And they don't want, they just want ease. Sure. Right. So sometimes that's the conversation too. So it's not always malicious. Yeah. And that's why it's just so important to understand the business so you can ask the right questions. Sure.
Sure. If I had a beat that I hadn't sold any non-exclusives on really, and someone wanted to do a buyout where I still get my publishing and maybe no master royalty. I don't know. I may consider it if it's a big number.
Yeah.
I may consider it if it's a big number.
But I think it's fishy if they're cutting you out 100% from
they're cutting you out. Forget it.
Yeah. And so we'll have, maybe we can have Mike on next Thursday to talk about this. I know we got to wrap it up.
We got to track down Goldman. I want him on here.
Bring him.
Yeah, good luck after we call all of these awful names.
What was the Nate Robinson and what's Jake Paul boxing league? Put me and Goldman in that motherfucker.
We don't know what Goldman looks like.
If I win, never do that shit again.
Put me in KD.
On the next episode, we'll be launching Beatstars Boxing. Everybody get ready. It's a new
I got nothing to lose, bro. I got nothing to lose right now.
Beatstars Boxing. I'll bring Big Guy in the
I'll be paying. So tell me about this KE guy, because I don't know nothing. I don't know.
All I know is he's targeting
neither do I.
He's targeting my videos. He's just not conducting good business. There's a lot of bad information out there. I don't know. Like I said, these aren't my stories to tell. He's been spamming me forever, and now I'm getting these ads, and he's on YouTube talking about don't buy from Beatstars, buy my type beats. I can let's do this next episode. Can we do this next episode? Are you available next Thursday, Abe?
No, I'm not available for that KE conversation. No.
Fair enough. Nah, I mean let somebody else handle it. I look at it like
a ton of clowns, bro. This is a ton
the
of
community just needs to respect itself and respect each other. That's all. And we respect each other by knowing more. We respect each other by saying no when something doesn't feel right. We respect each other by sharing good information. We respect each other by keeping our mouth shut when we really don't have an answer. So there are a lot of things, and this is hard for a lot of people. A lot of people just view the music business as this unstructured, chaotic, anything goes kind of field, and it's not like that. And the sooner we learn that, the better off we all are. So yeah, my hope is that all of us, plus the Carl Folks of the world, the Cassandras of the world, there are so many educators out there.
Yeah, these new age lawyers that are making themselves like available on social and kind of integrating themselves with the community. Like that was like the smartest thing those guys, could have done, because there's this whole crop of, producers that only know how to Twitter DM, right? Only know how to like connect with people that kind of look like them, that sound like them, that, so I think what those guys are doing is amazing. I think it's amazing that they're providing that type of representation for them, and they're making themselves more accessible.
I say this all the time, and it's amazing that like so many people think they can have a career. I actually tweeted it this morning too. Like you can't there's no career where you don't have to do any education. And to think you want a career in music and don't think that you're going to have, but the crazy thing is like, I believe that to avoid the type of mistakes that we've been talking about, you probably can study for a month and avoid the type of mistakes that we keep having to talk about. It's not even like years of education. You should continue to educate yourself, but you can study the music industry for a month and avoid the mistakes that we've been talking about in these podcasts.
And dude, and you know what? There's times like I don't want to know everything. Like I'm at a point, especially in my career now, it's like I can't possibly have the time to understand and educate and learn about everything. Like Dan, when you talk about like having the right team, having the right people to fill in those gaps when needed, it's huge. It's huge. Like, not to take anything away from all these, internet social media lawyers now that are making a name for themselves, but if the Beatstars marketplace was not enabling all of these like producers, all these hit records to happen, like that economy wouldn't even exist. So now we need to figure out a way to scale the legal education, so like for you guys to continue to have these younger lawyers come on and talk about different situations and different topics, it's huge. Dude, the MEC is more important than what a lot of people think. But I'm starting to like really see more and more the people, like ever since it's become free, like the accessibility of the information, like man, the producers are just like, thank you. Man, my lights.
Yeah, we appreciate them.
They're like, thank you for this information. Thank you for this. This is stuff that people go to school to learn, and you guys are, providing this for free. It's huge, man. It's huge.
And I can't wait for the COVID restrictions to lift so we can get back on the road too. But I know that with your guys' support, it's going to be 3 times as big as we did it the first time. So look out for the MEC tour, probably in 2022.
Dame loves touring. He just loves eating Subway.
I love it. I
definitely don't love touring.
No, but Dame, there's nothing like talking to our people, man. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, I like going in short runs. So I'll do a week at a time.
Yep, exactly.
Can I just say, Dame, I appreciate that about you.
What's that?
Just coming from the touring background that I have, which was, months or 3 weeks to 2 months, I appreciate the fact that your routing is 7 to 9 days. I really do. So that being said, Abe, and I appreciate you for changing my life. I appreciate both of you. I'm grateful for both of you. I pray and meditate on both of your names and the friendships that we have. You guys are also killing me because I have to edit this podcast. So, and it's running very long. So that being said, this is the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. We are live on beatstars.live Mondays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. It's free. It's interactive. You don't even have to be a BeatStars member, and you certainly don't have to be an MEC member. Just log on. You should be a member of BeatStars, though. And we will catch you very shortly on the next episode. And if you are involved in one of these live Q&As, just leave a comment in the chat. Let us know that you're watching these podcasts. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you for having me. Stop taking advantage of the kids, bitches.